Hello guys. How are we doing? Okay, hopefully my voice is a little bit better. I'm still having sinus issues, but hopefully you can hear me clearly. No need to rush through the reading, even though I'm trying to keep these under 30 minutes. All right, let's begin. You guys know what to do. Please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel. If it resonates with you, and if it doesn't resonate with you guys, it doesn't, I do not take personal offense. I just love to hear your feedback. So just put it down below in the comments. And if you have any other things to say, like any comments about the channel, anything that you'd like to see me doing on this channel, I'm definitely expanding in the new year. Some of you guys know that I am going through a health challenge, so I am just doing readings weekly and monthlies, and of course this is the weekly, and this is the weekly for August 21st through 27th. So let's just jump right into it, guys, and please help my channel grow, and again, anything, question, comments, concerns down below. All right, same deck, same spread, so nothing new here. So same decks, I should say, because I use 4, rotating them out. Okay, let's begin. What do we need this week? Retreat into nature, pretty straightforward. I'm loving using these Ascended Masters cards because they're really kind of straight to the point here. So retreat into nature. So guys, there's really not too much to say. We need more nature. Maybe not literally for some of you guys. I live in New York City, so sometimes getting into nature isn't always the easiest thing. So this could just be quiet time or connecting to your plants if you have plants in the home or something like that, but definitely feels like we're kind of in desperate need there. So not too much to read into, but let's see what action needed says. Round and round. Okay, so this is always about doing the same thing over and over again. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a yeah, it's the same result, but it doesn't necessarily mean a positive or a negative. So I definitely feel like for this, the Spirit is asking us to kind of break out of a routine of doing something differently. That could some of you guys, it would be like to change it to a more positive, but really just we're looking for change. I know this isn't the change slot here, but it just feels like we kind of need to get out of our everyday routine and need to mix it up a little bit, especially if we have expectations beyond how do I say this? What is that quote? I always mess up quotes, but let me see if I can get it right. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. Yeah, I think that's the quote. I think I actually got it right. So this is kind of what it's saying. So if you're looking for like a different outcome or a different expectation on something, Spirit is saying this is the week to kind of take action on it. Okay, so already I'm getting this feeling of this week being a little bit more action oriented than it usually is. So definitely, guys, this is the week to kind of do it. So if you get an opportunity that comes your way that could change the course of, again, what you expect or what you want, but you keep doing the same thing over and over again and again, getting the same results, it's time to choose differently, basically, is what Spirit is saying. So that's really interesting. So it can really pertain to anything, guys. Issue, we have the martyr. We have it in the shadow, addiction to self-pity. Okay, so here we go. This is for everybody. This is a little bit of this energy of people pleasing kind of coming through, because when the martyr is in the shadow, we kind of do everything for everybody else, and then we're like looking for praise. We're looking for people to return the favor, etc., etc. So this is about overextending yourselves for other people and not getting, so this actually goes with the expectations, right? Like maybe that's the thing that you need to be doing differently. Is like if you're somebody that goes out of your way for other people and you're not getting, your expectations, you keep getting let down because they're not necessarily reciprocating, then this is an issue, okay? Because when the martyr is in the light, and so when it's, when it's turned the other way, I know I don't put them upside down on the spread here, but as you guys saw, I pulled it upside down. You can be doing things from the goodness of your heart just to be doing things for the goodness of the heart, but there seems to be this little bit of manipulative type energy that we might be doing things to get something out of it, which again isn't that it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad, but I think it's attached to expectations, and then we like kind of disappoint ourselves. And so that's really what people pleasing is we're kind of similar. You're doing something for other people because you want them to like you, or you want something out of it, and it's not necessarily a genuine or authentic relationship or an authentic way of being. So I'm feeling this feeling of Spirit asking us to move more to our authentic selves. If you follow me here on YouTube and you've seen my dailies, you know, we just got one the other day about putting down the masks. And I really felt that very, very strongly that day, because it really feels like Spirit is asking and calling us to be a little bit more authentic in our life and our relationships. So definitely watch out for where you play the martyr in your life this week, because I think it's really going to click with a lot of you guys. And I think it's really going to enlighten you on where you kind of maybe creating, sometimes I say creating your own suffering, which is true. That's really what it is by playing the martyr in the shadow, that's what you're doing. You're creating your own suffering. It's not the other people that, you know, the people that aren't reciprocating, for example, it's not their fault. You're allowing it to happen. You're behaving this way. And so that's what Spirit is saying. And I have a feeling this is going to kind of come to a head for a lot of us this week. So look out for that. I would say that's like a pretty big issue. And it will, again, really, that word enlighten is coming up, because it really is going to enlighten you in a way of how you're playing this archetype. Surprise, broken arrow, embrace the energy of peace. Okay, so surprisingly, it's going to be a pretty peaceful week, which is great. So I will say, because it's the broken arrow, I definitely do feel like we need to make adjustments to make sure it's as peaceful as possible. This includes maybe you might have to cancel plans. Oh my God, I can't speak today, guys. You might have to cancel plans. You may, you may do what you kind of need to do to have more of a peaceful week. So if there's something that's like super stressing you out, I'm not saying like cancel it or do something about it. I almost feel like it's in alignment where it's going to kind of naturally happen. So if you have an upcoming stressful week, the surprise here is like, actually, no, it's going to be a little bit more, it's going to be more peaceful than you think it is. And so watch out for those hidden surprises. I always think of like canceled plans for me, because sometimes I feel like, peace is kind of like a broad type term, but sometimes if there's something that I don't want to be doing that week, and, I just kind of hope that somebody cancels their plans or something, that's kind of what I think of, but you can fit anything into there, but it's definitely going to be more peaceful than you think it is, and that's really a good surprise, right? Okay, the challenge. Take charge of the situation. Okay, so we have, we're having an issue, it feels like, taking charge and taking control. And usually control is not necessarily always like a positive thing, but again, everything has the light and the shadow. So this to me feels like we're not stepping up. Maybe there's like a little bit of like leadership energy kind of coming through, but it's hard for you to kind of take control. And so again, this could kind of fit into any type of relationship in your life. This could pertain to work or career. Like maybe your boss is asking you to step up and be a little bit more of a leader, and you're having issues with that or something along those lines. It definitely feels very, very challenging, where we can't kind of step into our power in that way, and we're not necessarily taking charge. So this calls for more masculine energy. So I will say that some of us have to really be tapping into that energy of the doing and the doing, the leadership, you guys know what I'm saying. Why can't I say this? Taking charge, leadership, planning things, making a plan, like that kind of thing. Like the doing, like I said. So sorry, I'm making it more complicated than it actually is. So yeah, so we're definitely going to have issues there, but I definitely see by maybe the weekend, I think there's like a lesson kind of attached to it too, but I definitely feel like by the weekend, we're going to kind of, like by the end of the week, we're definitely going to kind of get like more of a handle on it, so don't worry too much about that. I actually feel the issue being, this issue here with being the martyr is going to be a bigger issue this week than the challenge here of taking charge, so don't worry too much about that. Like I said, I think more so here with the martyr. All right, what do we have to focus on? Let's see. Not for you. Okay, so that's very interesting that it comes under the focus. Okay, so what's not for you? So basically, Spirit is saying it's important to kind of focus on, I almost want to say, focus on what you've been, how do I say this? what you've been denied, or what you haven't gotten, or what you haven't do I want to say won? So basically what I'm trying to say here is like, it almost feels like this energy of like the people that have told you no, the things that you haven't gotten, like over the last like few weeks, like pay attention to that. Like every time somebody said no to you, every time you didn't get what you wanted. So basically Spirit is trying to say, I know it's not in the reflect spot, but it's really saying like focus on what you didn't get. And basically, yeah, it almost kind of sounds like I'm sabotaging manifesting basically by saying that, but really there's like a hidden gem there. That's what I'm getting from this, where it's kind of saying like, look at and focus on what you didn't get, because that's going to kind of tell you what you truly want. Like there's some treasure in there in some type of way. So, and the 6 is really jumping out to me, and every time a number on one of these cards jumps out to me, I really need to pay attention. And the 6 is more about family, responsibility, relationships, being grounded, home, that kind of thing. So it's especially amplified if you put in for a house and you didn't get the house. There's some kind of lesson there. There's something there that we should be kind of focusing on. Maybe that wasn't the house that we really truly wanted, right? Maybe there is something else out there for us. And so Spirit is kind of not reflecting, but again, I actually want to see what the reflect is. I'll start pulling that. But it's saying there's something hidden there, more of a lesson that we kind of need to learn about the things that we didn't get, that things that were not for you, because at the end of the day, it just feels like there's a hidden lesson that we haven't necessarily gotten to about why we're not getting the things that we say that we truly want, or the things that we wanted. Okay, let me pull this reflect, because Alchemist. Okay, we have, and this was in the shadow, misuse of the power and knowledge that come through spiritual practice. Okay, so alchemy is always about transformation and changing things from a negative to a positive. So that makes sense coming off of this card, because again, this is kind of saying like the things that you didn't get, how can we kind of turn it into a positive? And so we're kind of reflecting on how we can turn the negative into a positive. So it makes sense with these 2 cards here. I really do feel like they're really connected there. And so how are we, how can we be the alchemist in our own life and be adaptable and transform the negative things that have happened to us into a more positive? And so again, it's really about focusing and reflecting on the things that we've kind of, that have people that have, the things that we have been denied, I guess is like the best way to kind of say it. I think you guys understand what I mean when I say that. So hopefully that makes sense for you. So let's move on. Responsibilities. Druid, hold the space. Okay, we have a responsibility to hold the space for ourselves, responsibility to take care of ourselves. I'm really curious to see what the health and wellness comes up with this card here, but this is really a heavy week on not necessarily, self-care, but making sure that we're not overbooking ourselves is something that's kind of coming up. So, being more of like a chill week and not like packing things into our schedule, even though it does feel like, I said, when we got this action needed card, it already kind of like felt, we need to be like doing something differently. So is this masculine energy that we need. So I do feel it, but it's not like overactive masculine energy, if that makes sense. So we still need to kind of pause, which is more of the feminine energy, and not necessarily fill up every spot on our calendar to, fill the void. Okay, so this is not the week to be super busy. I know it's like the middle of summer still. Maybe not the middle, a little bit past the middle. And maybe we were trying to cram in all of our summer activities and stuff like that, but still, Spirit is saying like kind of pump the brakes, because, you don't want to pack your schedule too much. Okay. Money, finances, and I put career in this. Yoga. Okay. So, this doesn't maybe for some of you guys, a very small fraction of the collective out there, you'd find really good money in, if you're a yoga teacher, or I would put meditation, breath work, Tai Chi all in the same category here. Really kind of, you have any type of spiritual business or something like that, I would say it's like a really good week. But this also means more like Zen and taking care of yourself. So basically what Spirit is trying to say, it coming off of this Druid here, is the more you kind of take care of yourself, the more money you make. So again, it's not about filling up your calendar. It's not about working super hard this week. It's not about that. It's really about kind of just like letting things flow, and taking care of yourself and like taking a break and that kind of thing. So filling up your calendar is not going to get you, put you ahead or bring in more money. It's really more about like, how do I say this? Like basically the more we take care of ourselves, the more abundance and prosperity that we can bring in. And it feels very much, very potent this week, let's put it that way. So again, if you guys go ahead and pick up more extra shifts or like whatever you want to be doing, or et cetera, et cetera. It's not necessarily going to get you ahead. The more you take care of yourself, the more you're going to get ahead. And if you have a spiritual business, it's a really good week for you guys. Okay, because I know some of you guys have a spiritual business out there. Change, breathe. Okay, guys, 3 cards in a row. Hold the space, yoga, breathe. Okay, this tells me we really do need to not be packing our schedule. Okay, so I know the main theme now of this week, pretty obvious. Okay, can't make this stuff up. We need to not pack our schedules, because that will create frantic energy. We do not need that type of energy, okay? So definitely breathe. That's the change of this week. It's going to be a little bit slower paced. Something tells me if we try to go faster or we pack the schedule, things are going to kind of be going, can I say asinine? Is that the word I want to say? Things are going to be kind of going skewed all over the place, not as smooth as we'd want it to go, because of that. And so, because it's out of alignment, right? Because this is really about reading about what's in alignment this week. And like I said, it's more of a slow paced type week. Work with that. And again, if we go any faster, or we try to force things, or we try to pack in our schedule and just be busy, it is not going to be a good week for you guys. If you guys are like listening to this and you're like, oh my God, I have such a busy week ahead of me. Again, the surprise here. Oh, I forgot about this guy right up here. So guys, we have a triangle, okay, of slow down, okay? So the surprise is it's not going to be as busy as you think it is. That's really, again, it's going to be more peaceful than we think. So guys, I can't make this up, right? I mean, you guys see me pulling the cards. I'm not like manipulating them or anything. Okay, student, but we have in the shadow, arrogance in the pursuit of destructive knowledge, unwillingness to translate knowledge into action. Okay, interesting. So we're not, like, basically this is saying like we're not learning. And the fact that it's under friends is we're not, guys, wow, this is interesting. We're not listening. A lot of you guys are not, and again, not like calling you out, but a lot of us are not necessarily listening to, like it almost just like feels like, our friend group, somebody in our friend group, a friend needs to teach us something. It has some valuable knowledge or some valuable information, and we're just like not open to it, right? It's about not being open. That's what the student in the shadow is. It's kind of like a know-it-all type attitude, where it's like, oh, I don't need to learn anything new. So when it comes to our friends group, like I'll just say this, like if that energy starts coming up with you, it's so important to have more humility and really be as open-minded as possible. So think about that if you're hanging out with friends the weekend maybe. Just be as open as possible, and there's something that you can learn from your friend group. And something tells me too, like I'm getting this feeling of like reconnecting with old friends too. And so they have knowledge or a skill or something along those lines that they can teach you. You just need to be open to it. And that is what's coming up here, is where Spirit is saying, just like make sure, you let them talk and take them seriously and be open and honestly, I know this says hold the space as far as like responsibilities go, and that could be towards you, but also hold the space for other people. Okay, so that's your only responsibility this week. So holding space for other people definitely counts too. So don't be arrogant. Leave the arrogance at the door. Leave that know-it-all type of attitude at the door as well. All right, let's see romance. Okay, trader, exchange energy to create abundance. Awesome. Okay, so this definitely feels like a good week for us, for those couples out there and single people as well, because trader is always about, even kind of trade, and so an even like give and take. So it definitely feels like the power dynamics in our relationships this week are evening out, and they're becoming a little bit more balanced, which is always great, and how it really should be. But sometimes, if you've been in a relationship, sometimes you have to be more of the dominant, or you have to kind of carry the team because life is crazy and stuff happens. But it definitely does feel like it's a little bit more balanced, either in responsibilities, in effort, in communication, like whatever it actually is. And then it's good for single people because it feels like if you're putting all the effort out, if you're dating, you're putting all the effort out, you're always making the plans, you're always on the apps, etc., etc. It's going to be a little bit easier. It's going to start balancing out. So this is really about, the energy that you put out there, you get back, and that's really, really, really good. Again, it's balancing out in our romantic lives. Okay, so what's important? Yeah, we're on that deck, right? Come out of the closet. Okay, so this is an authenticity card, okay? Coming out of the closet being, is this the card that I pulled for the daily? No, I don't think so. I use all kinds of decks for the daily, and I don't think it was this card, but there's other authenticity cards. I think it was actually I think it was a card about, taking your mask off. Same thing, coming out of the closet, be yourself, right? That's really important. So it's definitely moving more into authenticity for sure this week. And so it's really important to do that. There's not too much to say about that. Health and wellness, serendipity. Okay, so this is about alignment. So this is about things are serendipitous. What a word, right? Serendipitous. Things are kismet. Things are in alignment. Things are working themselves out. And so for everybody out there that's maybe dealing with a health issue, it doesn't have to be physical. We're talking emotional, we're talking mental, we're talking spiritual. It looks like it is starting to actually work out in your favor, where everything is starting to feel not necessarily balanced, but in alignment, where it feels like it's less forceful. It feels like you have a little bit more control. It feels like that everything is finally working itself out, like that kind of thing. And that's really good news for me too, especially for me. Okay, overall outcome. Let me see. Wow, we have a lot of shadow cards here, guys. Okay, we have Gambler, and it came in upside down. Shadow attribute relying on luck rather than hard work. Okay, so that's interesting. So the Gambler in the shadow is taking a gamble on things. And so because it's in the shadow, and because we kind of in this last row have oh my God, I can't speak, guys. Last row, we kind of have this energy coming through of the balance. I will say this, it definitely feels like we need to find more of a balance between, how do we say this? Like, yes, it's great to gamble every once in a while. It's obviously something that could be fun. To me, sometimes it feels like, trusting your intuition is kind of well, not exactly. I mean, especially if you have that inner knowing coming through. But sometimes, taking a chance, on something is exciting. And because you have an intuitive hit on it or whatever. So it's not saying like Gambler is bad, but basically I'm just getting this feeling where it's like, obviously you don't want to get it to the shadow, which is basically like not using your intuition, basically, and just like gambling and just relying on luck, basically. Like it's just like I almost just feel like, guys, work with me here while I try to suss out this energy here. It's like, okay, so some of us probably know people with gambling issues, right? And it's an addiction. They get so addicted to the risk, basically, that they always want to take risk without actually calculating the risk. Like, so basically Spirit is saying, like, you need to find a balance between the fun part of it and making it calculated and focused, right? And I guess the card is right, relying on luck rather than hard work. So sometimes it's about, taking a chance, but then sometimes it is about hard work, right? And strategy and that kind of thing. So I definitely do feel like we're finding a balance in that way, where places in our life we can take chances and where we need kind of more stability. And that's what I kind of feel for the overall outcome. Like, I feel like this week is really going to have us really kind of like figuring that out. And to me, it almost feels like it goes back to this action needed card with the round around, where it's kind of like we have to break out of that like everyday routine, and we kind of have to take a chance or, you know, do something differently. Sometimes Spirit is saying, you know, go on intuitive hit, and then sometimes you have to do more of a calculated risk. So I definitely do feel like taking a gamble is kind of a theme of this week, but it's really about figuring out how we go about that, if that makes sense to you guys. I hope that didn't confuse you guys more, but but I do feel like it really is kind of connected to that action needed card there, the round and round, because we are really breaking out of our everyday routines and we're doing something different to get different results. Okay, and so that requires a gamble, but you know, how we go about making that decision of what to gamble on is kind of what Spirit is saying here, is that we're trying to figure out. So a lot kind of going on, a slower week. Guys, slow down. Don't pack your schedules. That's super, super clear. And like I said, we're kind of breaking out of our everyday routine, doing stuff differently. Trying to take charge of situations is big as well. Oh yeah, and don't forget this issue here with the martyr. Cut that crap out, because that keeps us in a low vibration right there. You know, trying to, you know, we're doing everything for everybody else and we're like expecting it back. Just do it from the goodness of your heart, you know. Playing the martyr is just going to get us nowhere fast, basically. That's for sure. So, okay, overall, a pretty good week. I hope I didn't confuse you with that last one. That was a little tough. Sometimes it's hard to interpret the energy that I'm feeling, knowing that kind of thing. So guys, have a wonderful week. Again, put the comments down below if you have any questions, comments, concerns, whether it resonated or not. And that's it. Have a good one.